Welcome back to Leadership Trails. Today's story is about the brilliant manager nobody wanted to follow. Have you ever worked with someone who was absolutely brilliant, but nobody wanted to follow? Someone who could solve the toughest problem in minutes, predict what could happen in the project future, and remembers every single detail of the project, but somehow left a track of frustrated employees, missed opportunities, and broken trust behind them. This is Dr. Mark Shami. I'm a professor at the University of California and a managing director who led many successful projects, mega projects, and over 25 years experience training thousands of engineers and managers all over the world. Today, I'm going to share with you a story about one of the smartest managers I have ever encountered and why his intelligence eventually became the biggest weakness. So let me tell you the story of this rising star. Several years ago, I met a senior project manager whom I will call David. David was wonderful. He could walk into the project, review meetings, and immediately identify schedule risks that are hidden deep inside thousands of activities, and he used to remember conversations from months early in advance, and he could forecast problems before they happen. Usually, he turned out to be right in most cases. When executives have difficult questions, David always has the answer. His reports were really second to none. His presentations were flawless. His technical knowledge was unmatched. Naturally, everybody, especially senior leadership, loved him. Whenever a troubled project needed rescuing, David was there. People used to call him the superhero. And initially, everyone admired him. The younger engineers wanted to learn from him. Project control staff respected him. Clients trusted his technical expertise. From the outside, he looked like the perfect leader, or as I said, the superhero. But something was happening beneath the surface that senior management could not see at the beginning. So let me tell you what had happened. And this is the story that I saw in my eyes. The issue wasn't David's intelligence. The issue was how he treated people. Whenever someone made a mistake, he pointed it out publicly. If an engineer proposed an idea and he didn't like, he dismissed it with a sarcasm. If someone disagreed with him during meetings, everybody knew that that person was wrong. At first, these incidents seemed small, sarcastic comment here, a public criticism there, a joke at someone's expense. But over time, the atmosphere changed. People stopped volunteering ideas. Meetings became very tense. Engineers prepared less ambitious solutions because they didn't want criticism. Team members started discussing issues privately instead of bringing them into the open, and something dangerous happened. People became afraid of making mistakes. But even worse, they became afraid of speaking up. Can you believe it? So let me tell you what happened later. Then came an incident that changed everything. The project was facing a significant technical challenge. A review meeting was called. The room was full of engineers, planners, project control specialists, and senior manager, and several other people. A young engineer had identified a potential issue. He wasn't completely certain, but he believed there might be a problem developing in one area of the project, and he began explaining his concern. Obviously, the young engineer was quite bright, but halfway through his explanation, David interrupted him. Not politely, not constructively, but publicly. He challenged the engineer's assumptions, he questioned his analysis, he pointed out flaws in his reasoning, and did it in a way that embarrassed him in front of everyone. And that was the problem. The room became silent, you can imagine. The engineer stopped talking. The meeting became tense, and everybody moved on. Nobody defended the young engineer. Discussion stopped, and nobody wanted to become the next target of David. A few weeks later, that engineer was transferred to another team, but the real damage wasn't his departure. The real damage was that what everybody learned that day. They learned speaking up carried risk. So let me tell you more about the cost of fear based on this issue. Several months later, the project encountered another serious issue, not because the team lacked talent, but because they lacked resources, and certainly not because they lacked intelligence. The problem or the problems existed because important information wasn't reaching decision makers early enough. People had concerns but kept them for themselves. Risks were identified but not escalated. Bad news traveled slowly, and warnings arrived too late. And you can imagine, because of that negative atmosphere that was created by David, who was abrasive. Ironically, the manager who was best at predicting problems had unknowingly created an environment where people stopped sharing problems. His technical brilliance had become a curse, less valuable than the trust he had destroyed. Because leadership is not about being the smartest person in the room. Leadership is about creating an environment where everyone in the room is willing to contribute their intelligence. Without a trust, information stops flowing. Without psychological safety, innovation disappears. Without respect, people comply, but they don't commit. So what is the leadership lesson here? This story reminds me of a lesson that many organizations learn the hard way. Competence may earn you credibility, yes, but character earns fellowship or fellowship. You can impress people with expertise, knowledge, you can impress people with your experience, you can impress people with your intelligence, but none of those qualities automatically make people want to follow you. People follow leaders who make them feel valued, who make them feel heard, who make them feel safe enough to speak up or speak honestly. The greatest leaders I have known, like your young teachers, weren't always the smartest people in the room. They were the people who got the best ideas out of everyone else. And that's a very different skill. This case reminds me of a book called Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday, in which success often creates overconfidence. Leaders begin to trust their own judgment too much and stop listening to others. Brilliant managers' greatest challenge was not incompetence, it was believing that their past success guaranteed their future success. Ryan Holiday reminds us that talent may get us promoted, but humility keeps us effective. The brilliant manager did not fail because he lacked intelligence, he failed because he stopped learning from others. And this is what the book was all about. And so here's a question for you. When people leave your meetings, do they feel smaller or do they feel stronger? Because your answer to that question may reveal more about your leadership than your technical expertise ever will. And that is the difference between being a brilliant manager and becoming a leader people truly want to follow. Thank you for watching. If you have experienced a leader like this or learned this lesson yourself, share your thought in the comments below. Thank you so much, and see you on the next episode of Leadership Trails. Bye-bye.